I probably couldn't class today's outing as an adventure as such, but it's certainly an exploration. I know very, very little about my early childhood. I was born in London and I have an address on my birth certificate and I have an address on my mother's death certificate. She died when I was 5 years old. But I have a feeling that we moved around quite a lot in those 5 years. So I found three more addresses on the electoral register. So I decided I'd be meaning for a while to just sort of get on the train, go up to London, and check out all the addresses, just sort of go on a little tour. I'm actually on the train home now in the evening. This morning's train was just absolutely jammed. It's the summer holidays here, school holidays, so it was absolutely packed. There was no way I could do it on the way up. So yeah, this is what I've been doing today, and you're along for the ride. Okay, my first stop on from Victoria is Harlesden, and I think I now have about a 12-minute walk to find Bruce Road, which is the address on my birth certificate. I'm not going to attempt to film that because I am notoriously bad at getting very lost, especially when following walking routes on Google Maps. So it should take me about 12 minutes, but who knows? So just opposite me here, we have Bruce Road, which you can't see because it's really sunny. I did get slightly lost, but in all fairness, that is because so cargo pass. Um, in all fairness, that was because there was actually a crime scene right across the road. So, how to tell you in London, eh? So I had to do a bit of a divert, and it sent Google Maps a little bit strange. So now I'm going to attempt to find number 15, which is where we lived when I was born. Numbers seem to be on the opposite side of the road here. I'm just looking. I think that's number 7, 9. I can see. I think I'm coming up for 15 here. There we go. It's actually got a sign up there which says 15 Bruce Road with an arrow for flat A and an arrow for flat B. So, this is where we lived when I was born. My parents are not on the electoral roll for this address, which suggests to me that they'd arrived shortly before I was born, which is my understanding. So, right, so that's Bruce Road done. And now I'll check out my next address and work out how I'm going to get there. So, hello, 15 Bruce Road, Willesden, North London. Next stop was Willesden Station, but by bus, which I would not recommend. It was absolutely hellish. Roads so congested, but no other way of doing it really because the underground lines don't link up. So here I am at Willesden Green. I'm about to head off to the house we moved to after Bruce Road. Okay, I have found Anson Road. Okay. So now I have to find number 72. Right, and here is 72, I think. Yeah. That is number 72, Anson Road. According to the electoral roll for the years 1952, 1953, which is when we were living here, there were 4 couples and also a single person. So that's 5 residences in this property. So I'm assuming it was a small flat that we had. Okay, that's number 2. Let's move on to number 3. See where I've got to go now. Sorry. Look here, and here we have Park Avenue, and I'm looking for number 16. And I have found number 16. And when we were living here, which was in 1954, on the electoral roll, there were 11 adults registered as living here. That was 5 couples and 1 single person. And I think I remember this place. And I think we pretty much had 1 room, and I very nearly died, which I'll talk about when I'm not standing out on the street filming. So yeah, this is Park Avenue, and on we go. Let's just swing back round to number 16. There we go. So here we are in Hoveton Road, which I think is technically Cricklewood, and I am looking for number 19. What surprised me is how green this whole part of London is. I hadn't really realised, certainly don't have any memory, I was too young, I think. But this one, Hoveton Road, we lived here in 1956. And let's see if I can find number 19. And here we are, number 19. It's clearly, as it was when we lived here, multi-occupancy. For the electoral roll for 1956, when we were here, there were 3 couples and a single person. So again, that's at least 4 accommodation units. And all the roads I've looked, especially the last couple, the houses are sort of quite grand, really. So when these were originally built, and with the fact that it's so tree-lined, it must have been quite an affluent part of London. Now, I would think, and for many, many years, certainly since the 1950s when we were here, it's been multi-occupancy houses and also multi-ethnicity. It's interesting walking around. It's about as varied as you could possibly get, which is great. I think back in the 50s it was mainly at that point Irish and Jamaican people who'd come over on the Windrush. So yeah, but it has changed and grown, and it's very, very varied now. And here I am on Windermere Avenue, and this feels a little bit emotional because this is where we lived when my mum died. That's Queen's Park, just across there, and it's another one that looks like a nice leafy road. So let's just do a time lapse while I find the house. And here we have number 31. I'm going to walk over the road because it's sort of evening now and people might be home from work and feel a bit self-conscious. So I'm just going to stand over here by this tree to go back across the road. So yes, so nice leafy suburban London. Looks like these houses have all been restored to being family homes. They look very nice, but it wasn't when we lived here. I remember we were on the ground floor at the front, and I have memories of another family who also lived on the ground floor at the back. So we probably had literally a couple of rooms each. Yeah, so this is where we lived when my mum died in 1957. So that's the exploring the places I lived from the age of 0 to 5. I'm going to head on home now, but there is something else, and I haven't quite decided yet whether I'm going to add it on to the end of this video or make a new video. It's something I've been searching for a long time, and literally found out this morning when I was on the train coming up to London. It's quite amazing. I'm just looking around behind me. We've got Planet Organic over there, so I think this area has become much more desert than it was when I was living here. I decided that I will add the event I was talking about onto this video. I got a bit tearful putting it together, so I hope that you will appreciate what it meant to me. Thank you. So, I discovered just this morning, when I was on the train coming up to London, the whereabouts of my mother's grave. After years and years of searching and not coming up with anything, I finally found her, and I knew that she'd been buried in a pauper's grave, and I knew it was in London, but I had no idea where. And then, bizarrely, having decided just this week that I was going to come up to London and, try and find all the places where I'd lived, I've discovered that she was buried in St Mary's Catholic Cemetery, which is part of Kensal Green Cemetery. And the area where I'm hovering, all the paupers' graves, or the public graves, as they're more correctly known these days, were reclaimed back in the 1980s, and they were built up to a height of 12 feet. So the graves were not disturbed, but they built them up to a height of 12 feet, and then they were all reused. People were buried in the new soil, and all the stones here start from the 1980s and they go up to the modern times. So I'm pretty certain that this is where she would have been, or where her remains still are, buried very, very deep down. 18 feet, I would imagine, because if they topped the existing graves up by 12 feet, she would be 6 foot under that. So I'm just going to quickly go up some steps here and have a little scroll around. So it is the weirdest thing, never knowing where she was buried, and then it's just literally finding out today. What it was I was searching yesterday, trying to plan my route, and I was just working out how to get from house number 4 to house number 5, which was the one we lived in when my mum died. And I sort of just spotted St Mary's Catholic Cemetery. I thought, I haven't come across that before. And it is actually part of Kensal Green Cemetery. And I thought, the council, the borough, nobody has got records. Could this be my last chance? I got suggestions from so many people, tried so many different inquiries. I thought I'd email them. So it was yesterday evening, and I was on the train this morning just after 9:30, and lo and behold, there was an email saying, "We have your mum's record. She was buried here." So that's quite amazing. It's quite a a bizarre feeling that, oh, how many? She died in 1957. So, God, how many years ago is that? I can't think at the moment, but it's, 60, 64, 65 years ago. And somewhere under here are her remains. And I have this memory, and it's sort of fairly clear, about my father bringing me and my brother to a cemetery and taking us to what he called the charnel house, which is a thing, and basically just sort of saying that, our mother didn't have a proper grave and that they would just chuck her bones in there. I mean, what a thing to say to a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. This graveyard, like many London graveyards and probably other big cities as well, does have some amazing monuments in it. I'm just going to go down some of the. Oh, I just think I've just been bitten by something. Brilliant. Anyway, yeah, some really gothic looking monuments. And I'll tell you something, this one here, this one that's absolutely falling down, looks, in my memory, just like the place that my father said is a charnel house. I mean, I don't know what it is. I think it is a monument. I can see if I can go around and have a look, maybe. These incredible. It's coming up for closing time here. I've sort of rushed to get across here, and I haven't actually been to the last house yet. But I just wanted to get here. Do you know, I wonder, because look, it has a door on it, like it's a building rather than a monument. But anyway, whatever it is, says something about a man who thinks that, that's a good thing to say to his children, doesn't it? Okay, I think I will fade out to the cemetery now and head off to my final property I want to visit today, which is the house we lived in when my mum actually died. Okay.